Ooh, that looks tasty. Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Jay the Hungry Gamer is back with another episode of the Three Idiots Game of the Year tournament, and I am joined by the two biggest idiots I know. Michael Kelly of the One Stop Co-op Shop, Mr. 50,000 subscribers, almost, and Mark.
Yeah, not 50,000 subscribers. No.
But not board gaming either.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yes, fantastic. I'm surprised you know two idiots because Mike and I only know one big idiot.
You know, that's weird. You know, you should take the mirrors out of your house then.
Anyway, this is the most scientific way of deciding the best game.
Well, let's be clear. It is the second. Beatrice, the board game dog,
Beatrice
has
first.
Beatrice
Okay,
and
yeah,
blueberries.
yeah.
Or not blueberries. What do you use?
It is blueberries.
Blueberries.
Yeah,
It is blueberries?
it's
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Look, I feel like that's already a point against you, Mike.
I got it right. I just doubted myself.
Sorry, but anyhow, Mark, you were saying the second most.
Yeah, scientific way of deciding the best game of the year that we covered, obviously, on our respective channels. I know there are lots of other ways that people do top 10 lists, etc. And we've all done our own this year, but nothing is as scientifically factual as this. Yeah.
Yep. So for anybody who's joining us for the first time, we have each picked 4 games that we covered this year. It could be a prototype, could be an old game, could be a new game, doesn't matter, that we covered. We actually picked 6 each, and then in case we had crossover, and they are now put into a bracket, as you see on the screen right now if you're watching, not listening. And what's going to happen is when our turn is up, our game that we have put forward is up, we are going to argue our case. And whoever the third person is, they're going to judge. And any rules you want. If you're butthurt because of a previous year that you lost, you can go against somebody. If you feel like they wronged you earlier, you can vote against them. If you're tired of hearing them make the same argument over and over again, you can vote against them. If the other person tells you a better joke, you can vote against them. Whatever you want. So we're going to kind of see how that goes. But before we start, I wanted to add something new this year, just because as we've started doing this, our brackets are a little bit of what do we think we can convince the other people about? So, what is the best game, new to you game this year that didn't make your bracket? And why do you like it and why did it not make your bracket? Let's let Mr. 50,000 go first.
Yes. So this, I've been on record saying this on our podcast, on many videos. I think 2024 is, for my favorite type of game, the best year of gaming ever. And that is very
Whoa.
specifically about like big cooperative adventure games, campaign games, dungeon crawlers. Some of the best adventure and dungeon crawler games I think of all time have come out, and just like so many of them. I could point to the year Gloomhaven came out, or I don't know, other ones like that. As
Well,
like a
do
year
that, and then
had-
when I wake up, you can continue.
well, what I'm saying is I can point to like individual games from previous years, but in terms of just like stacking game after game, we had some amazing ones. So actually, all 4 of mine that made it onto the bracket are my 4 top games from my recent video for 2024 that legitimately came out in 2024. Like you can buy them on a website right now, I think all of these, or at least you could have backed them and then they aren't available anymore. But I did want to mention one game that was up there as one of my favorite games, and I actually just played last night because it's so quick and accessible and fun, but it's technically not hitting retail until a few days as of this recording, I think January 7th. And that is the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game from Office Dog, I believe, and Asmodee. And this has a lot of similarities to The Crew in that it is a cooperative trick taker with sort of varying objectives and like scenarios with like a little story to read out. But first of all, the story is The Lord of the Rings instead of whatever The Crew's narrative is, random, meaningless space jargon.
Yeah, or Deep Sea.
Or I do like Deep Sea better than Original Crew, but that story is also meaningless to me. And I won't say Fellowship of the Ring is better yet. The Crew has been my favorite trick-taking game for years. Fellowship is still pretty new, but the theme and sort of the different way they do scenarios certainly makes it up there challenging The Crew. And yeah, I think it'll, in my 2025 ranking, will be near the top again, unless next year is just insane. So that's my what'd you say again? My hidden gems, my
Your best new to you
Best
game,
best new
not
to
on the
you.
bracket.
Yeah.
best new to you
Yeah.
game down in the bracket. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
is the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, trick taking game. Good
Yep.
luck with that acronym. I think it's too many letters.
Yeah, I got to I played that I think I played through 3 games of that. It's really fun. I do enjoy like some of the random Lord of the Rings characters that show up, like random farmer dudes. You
Well, see, here's the funny thing. It actually inspired me because I love the books as well as the movie trilogy, and like the old cartoon movies, the Rankin Bass ones, and all of those. I'm a big Lord of the Rings head. Um, it got me to reread the book, and I'm reading it to my 12 and 9 year olds. That's sort of an extra reason why it feels
Nice.
special to me.
Yeah.
And none of those characters are random because if you just go by the movies, they jump the first half of Fellowship of the Ring really quickly because all the fun like action stuff happens in the second half. But more than half of the book is hanging out with Farmer Maggot, hanging out with Tom Bombadil, hanging out with his wife
Mhm.
Goldberry, like talking with Fatty Bulger. My kids thought his name was hilarious.
dude, Mark doesn't want you to call him that.
Yeah, so the Fellowship game is very intricately tied to the actual like books and not different film adaptations they've done. And I have
Yeah.
heard rumblings. This is not from the publisher, but just from other people. I've heard rumblings that they're going to do a Two Towers and a Return of the King, and then like maybe they'll integrate or something.
Oh,
I am
cool.
100% here for that if they do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we've
it,
recently rewatched all the films, and it's years since I've watched them. I was actually in New Zealand when, and I went to see it on the opening night, the final one, Return of the King opened.
Oh wow.
But I have read Lord of the Rings twice, and I've also listened to the audiobook that Andy Serkis narrates as well, which is great. But the singing does go on for a little bit. Basically, he sings all of the songs in the book, and but yeah. So no, the interesting one that I do, yeah, it sounds like one I might have to pick up in the. It plays well at 2. I take it then, unlike
It
the crew.
plays
Yeah.
solo is great. It does solo differently
Oh,
than
so
I've
solo as
ever
well.
seen it. Yeah,
Okay.
solo is really good. You play it four-handed, but it's a really nice challenge and it's very unique. I've never seen a solo done this way for a trick taker. There aren't that many solo trick takers in general, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
cool.
uh it's up there with like Four Northwood is my favorite solo trick taking experience. Now that's only like 4 games, so it's not hard to be
Right.
in the top
Yeah.
2, but it's really good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
I'm looking at this one. I'm definitely planning on picking up. It's good. It's good stuff. All right, I'll jump in next. So my best new to me game, not on this list. It's not on this list because Mike championed it last year, and I refuse to give him that glory and joy. And that is Summoner Wars.
Oh.
I have played so much Summoner Wars since last time we did this. Like I immediately I reached out, I was like, hey, can I cover this? And they sent me one, and I've bought so much more. It's bad. I need to cancel my subscriptions. What I need to do because
I did cancel mine after like because my son and I stopped playing as much, and I was like, all right, I got like 30 factions now. I'm good
yeah, I
for
have
the
so many
foreseeable
factions I haven't
future.
played yet. But the app's really good too. I may go back and get just the app subscription. Anyhow, the game is great. It is every faction. It plays similar enough to where you can jump right in, but they're all really different. I think they're balanced. I think. Eh, I don't know.
I think there are good and bad matchups, but that's how it is for any game, like with that kind of asymmetry. I think.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking with Jerry Hawthorne who works there, and he's like, "No, no, 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 we have the stats." And like he went and like pulled up the stats of like, the percentages of wins. I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess that's data. I can't."
I mean, at the same time, Plaid has actively rebalanced very few cards, but like some of the summoners and things. So they're aware that some factions perform less or more well.
Yeah.
In,
Now there are some that I hate with every fiber of my being. I despise them. But anyhow, Summoner Wars, it's
Eh.
really good. Mark, have you tried this yet?
I downloaded the app and I think I've played a couple of the training games, but that's it. It's app-based games. I don't mind them, but they've really got to grab me. And I never thought of going back to it. So maybe at some point I'll nip back into the app and just give it a go. Yeah, it seemed to play okay from what I remember of it, but yeah, I think it's one of those games that will shine the more you play it, and it just didn't massively grab me from the get-go.
Yeah, it plays really pretty quick on the table too.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and so for solo players like Mark and I, They have now. They had for a while on the app 3 different. Well, they had one, and then they added 2 more. So 3 different solo campaigns where you kind of play through a little story and like level up your deck as you go. And now they've added a horde mode where you're just trying. It's like a survive as long as you can while fighting thing. Neither directly is like an analogy or neither is fully analogous to like the actual competitive play. They kind of change up a lot of rules, but it's a lot of fun just for kind of a solo thing. I wish they would do like they did for Ashes Reborn with the Red Rains. I wish they would do like an official solo mode because they clearly are able to do that kind of stuff. That
I would
probably
be
catapult
all over
Summoner.
that.
Yeah, like if you could play it, co-op 2-player like you can for Ashes, that'd be insane.
Yeah, be awesome. But so that's my best not on my bracket. New to me. All right, Mark, what's your best new to you, not on the bracket? Why do you like it? Why is it not on your bracket?
Right, so this is the equivalent of watching one of those big summer tentpole movies, basically. That's all special effects and very little plot, but you have a good time kind of doing it. And I was really surprised because I played Zombicide in the past, and it was okay. Basically, when I first got into gaming, Zombicide is obviously very dated, but it filled a gap. It gave some different mechanisms, but it didn't grab me. I think I had it and sold it. However, this year I kind of I bought a couple of boxes of Marvel Zombies. Now,
A
I'm not a
couple of
Marvel.
boxes. If you're just listening, it looks like 3 full cubes.
No,
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 it's
no.
two.
It's
No,
just
it's two.
both core games. The one above is not
Yeah.
Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, the one above is Australia.
Because they have
So
one
yeah,
core set for the zombie side and one for the humans. Will
exactly.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I bought the original core set, then I bought the other one as well. And you know what? I'm not a Marvel fan. Zombies I can take or leave. It's great fun. You set it up, and this is the ideal kind of beer and pretzels kind of board game, if you like. Yeah, lots of multiple different scenarios. You can chuck it all together. You do need both boxes to get the most out of it, really, which is a bit of, it's the CMON model, isn't it? Break things up into lots of different little pieces and sell them for a fortune. So you do need both boxes. But I was surprised by how much fun I've had with this. And if I'm, you get those nights and you think, I want to play something, but I don't know what to play, then Marvel Zombies is ideal for me to just chuck out on the table, chuck some dice, large elements of luck with some skill in there, depending on how you're progressing through the story, etc. Really enjoyed my time with Marvel Zombies, more so than I ever thought I would, because I can't think that I've got many CMON games. Maybe Cthulhu Death May Die and Marvel Zombies. That's about it from CMON. But yeah, it's great fun. Will, I know you're not a big Zombies fan. I don't know what you like with Marvel movies. I can only assume that you're not a massive superhero fan as well. I'm ambivalent about both, but
That's a weird
me. Yeah.
judgment. Like looking at you, you clearly don't like heroes.
You're a Shakespearean actor, darling. Yes, so those are proper
Look,
movies.
Kenneth Branagh directed Thor.
Yeah, he did.
You know,
he did. This is
and
true.
he did an okay. He did a job.
Yeah, I was about to say it was not terrible.
Yeah.
I actually really I actually enjoy most superhero movies. I like the Marvels more than the DCs because dark and gritty, like meh. But
I'm excited.
On a
for
side
the
note,
Superman.
I've been watching Creature Commandos. You should watch that.
Yes, that's supposed to be great. It's why can I remember his name? Gunn.
James Gunn.
James Gunn's new like adult.
Yeah, little cartoon. It's good. It's got Alan Tudyk in it, and
I love
cool.
Tudyk.
Yeah. No, you're right, Mike. Though the new Superman trailer does look ace, doesn't it? Basically,
So, I loved Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill in anything, but I want a not Zack Snyder-ish, like not hopeless take on Superman, whether it's Henry Cavill or somebody else.
Yeah. As somebody that went to see it in the cinema, the original back in the cinema in kind of 1977, I got those similar tingles from.
You went and saw that on your 40th birthday, right?
I was going to swear at you then. Yeah. I literally cut the word off in my mouth at that point.
By the way, back to games for a second. Mark, I also very much enjoyed Marvel Zombies this year. That was the first time I played it. I also had a fun time with the casino one that was based on the Netflix movie.
Army of the Dead, is it?
Army of the Dead, I think that's right. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that was a nice set too. And I'm not a big Zombicide fan. Like, I'm firmly in the Cthulhu Death May Die kind of style of that fight. But yeah, I thought Marvel Zombies was very solid and very fun. And I'm also I like Marvel, but I'm not like a huge fan. So that I thought the mechanics were good.
Yeah, well, never played it. I guess we'll have to try it at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
All right. Let's the people have been suffering long enough. They
Yeah,
want to
sure.
know what the best game of the year is. All right, Mike, as the reigning champion, pick a bracket 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I don't
You
know
don't know which way I'm
Yeah, I
counting,
was about to
so
say I
you
don't
know.
know. You're just arbitrarily going to pick whatever you want because you didn't tell
No,
us
no,
when
no,
to
no.
start.
I know which one's which.
Sure you do. Let's start with 2.
All right, that is going. Oh, Mark, we're up. All
Oh,
right,
cool.
that's the top right bracket.
I
So,
thought it would be. That's how I would have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, but I didn't know which way you were going to go.
well, just remember, great minds think alike. So the first one, so in this bracket, the bye game went to Mike with Fateforge. So that's going to be next round. But to start out, we have Speakeasy
Hmm.
that Mark has chosen versus Distilled that I have chosen, and a very thematic matchup.
Yeah,
And
did that happen by accident? Did you
it
or did
did.
you match them up? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was I actually had it broken down by who's going to go get which of their rank where. Yeah, so we have 2 very thematic matchups in the first round today. But because I am a gentleman and a scholar, Mark, you can go first.
Well, I mean, what is there to say about Speakeasy? It
Nothing.
is.
Actually, a lot, Mark, because I know nothing about it besides that it's
You know
Lacerda.
nothing. Okay, so it is. I know Lacerda. For some people, a game like Weather Machine was a bit too abstract for them. Certainly, Inventions was more back to Lacerda. Speakeasy is kind of peak Lacerda. For me, it's probably next to Kanban EV, my favorite Lacerda game that I've played. So I got obviously a review copy, no, a preview copy as part of the campaign there, and it is set in the Prohibition era in New York. So you have the state of New York set up into various areas, and you are going to be doing all of the fun things that you want to do when drink is concerned without throwing up down your vest, basically. So you're going to be making liquor, you're going to be running liquor, you're going to be setting up bars and casinos and stills, you're going to be raiding ships, you're going to be evading the police, maybe even bribing the police. You're going to get payouts at the end of each turn. This game, I played it solo and I played it 2 and 3 players, and every time we've had a brilliant kind of climax to the game as you're going through the various years. And the game is set over a number of rounds, and those rounds coincide with the number of years of prohibition that were in place. It all kind of links absolutely thematically. I would say this is Lacerda's most thematically on point game that he's actually done. Everything happens for a reason, and you can tell the story of your emerging gangster as you kind of progress over the prohibition eras and try to make those strides to become the most powerful gangster in Manhattan. And all of this is to say is the fun part. You're not just like in Distilled, where I might make 3 drinks throughout the entire game of Distilled, and 2 of
3
them are
drinks.
going to
What?
be
No wonder you don't like it. You're terrible at it. 3?
and 2 of them are going to be moonshine, basically, and that is the issue there with Distill. And also,
Okay, okay,
let's
okay.
talk about
Hold
them.
up. I haven't gotten to talk yet about this, but let's start on Speakeasy. So you said you're doing all these things you're going to do. You're going to
Yeah.
do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And then you left out, you're going to go back to the rule book and be like, wait, how does that work? Wait, what did I forget? Huh? What's happening? Because it's a Lacerda game. And there's a rule for everything. There's a billion rules, all these little systems. And if you forget one, it's over. So the first game you have to play for Speakeasy is how do I play this game again? What am I
I
supposed to
get
do?
it.
Wait, wait. There's 7 phases, but oh gosh, let me go read all this about phase 1, and that took me 10 minutes. But now I can take phase 1, and then we got phase 2. Oh wait, that's going to take me another 7 minutes to figure out how that's going to work. And now here's phase 3. Oh wait, but someone read the FAQ, and they understand that we actually did all of that wrong, so we have to start over. It's a Lacerda game. There's a reason Mike doesn't play Lacerda games because they're ridiculous. But let's talk about a game. Hi, Vital. You're great. Let's talk about Distill. Now, this is a game. This was actually the first game that I covered this year. And this is a beautifully thematic game when it comes to making alcohol. In fact, the biggest knock against this game is that it is so thematic. Because after you shuffle up your cards, you take off the top for the angel's cut, and you have the devil's cut, you take off the bottom. And that's the only thing people complain about. It's so thematic. It's too thematic, is what people complain about. And this, you only make 2 drinks, Mark. You need to learn to play games, bud, because you make 7 or 8 drinks over the course of this game, and maybe you make moonshine. But everyone loves a little moonshine now and then. We all went to college. We know what's happening there, right? And when you've added in the latest expansions for Distill, which I don't know, Mike, if you've played the latest expansion.
I played Africa.
So they have a new one. It's a single deck, which adds a variable market. So every turn, next round, drinks that are made from the Americas are going to be worth more or less.
Oh, okay.
I can get cheaper grain this round or whatever it is. And we played it at Mark's house, and he loved it. He couldn't even complain. He was like, "This is a fantastic expansion. This was so much fun. Thank you for being here. Will, thank you for coming across the ocean to play Distilled with me. My life has been made better because of this."
Words that never left my mouth. And also, let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, yes, Speakeasy obviously has rules. You don't like looking at rules, obviously, Will.
Have you finished reading the rules yet? I don't think you have.
So it sounds like you actually like to play games where it doesn't matter what the rules are. You're just going to play whatever you want, which is how you kind of just described Distilled there, basically. It's a game where you don't have rules. Also, let's talk about this deck of cards and this shuffling, which is one of the things that people don't like, okay? So you take off the Angel share and you take off the Devil share. As a professional distiller, that would not happen, that you would not make a vat of moonshine each and every time you make a drink, which could happen in Distilled, basically.
Are you a professional distiller? I don't think so.
I'm not.
You're just talking out your butt.
But you wouldn't be a professional distiller for long if all you're making, after trying to make a very expensive drink from Latin America, all you're ending up with is a bit of vodka or moonshine.
Well, then you shouldn't be. This doesn't happen to me when I play the game. It's not a problem.
You've also said that the game is great if you buy an expansion. So it's one of those games that fix what was wrong with it by asking people to spend more money. So
don't you spend my words. It makes it better.
That's exactly what you said. Yeah. So
makes it better.
Now, both games are drinks focused now, and there is a certain amount of fun in getting drunk. Of course, in mixing drinks and getting drunk. But sooner or later, that headache's going to start. You're going to pass out on the couch. You're going to wake up half naked, walking down the street, sellotape to a lamppost, walking. I don't know, whatever's going to happen, basically. All of that happens in Distilled. Whereas Speakeasy,
you get arrested and go to jail and you're naked there?
No, not at all. There's none of the drinking happens in Speakeasy. What there is an American's favorite pastime, is shooting that can happen in Speakeasy. And that's why it should appeal to a wider audience. I can't think that anybody gets shot in Distilled other than taking a shot.
I'm gonna let that argument stand, Mike.
Yeah. Feel like Mark's looking down on America a bit, which fair, especially probably in the 1920s and other times.
Yeah.
This one's a tough hill for you to climb, Mark, because I'm not a big Lacerda fan generally. Not saying, sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't personally enjoy Lacerda games that often. I think he's a fabulous designer, clearly one of the best out there. Whereas Distilled was one of my favorite Euros from the past few years. So, and I think the theme, from what Mark says, it sounds like the theme is wonderful in both games. But I do like that Distilled is such a small theme. I know that's kind of like a knock Mark had against it here, but the fact that you're just like making these very small kind of drinks and that's the entire focus. It does have that randomness of the drinks that Mark alluded to that can be frustrating. And also, Will has never won this contest, so he gets the little, sad, pity vote every once in a while. So I'm going to go, I have not played Speakeasy. I'm going, off of ignorance here, but I'm going to go with Distilled this time.
Let's be honest, you're never going to play Speakeasy.
No, there's a very low chance that I will ever play Speakeasy. Distilled, we still own, and I still enjoy playing, even we played it a few months ago.
Despite the obvious transatlantic bias here, in reality, they're both great games. So, there's not really a loser here, other than me.
Well,
there's
other
not
than
really a loser. It wasn't so much Speakeasy that lost, it's me that lost. Yeah, so there we go. Will, I'm starting to feel how you must feel every day right now.
Yes, it's not good.
So vicious.
Yeah, I will say, I want to actually echo Mike real quick. I actually really respect Lacerda designs. They're just not for me. They're always there's just a little bit too much. Like Escape
Well,
Plan supposedly is his lightest one, and I backed that. I was excited about it. Pretty thematic too. I was like, nope.
To be honest, Speakeasy, it looks complex. There's a lot going on, but once you understand the rules, it's relatively straightforward to play. And every action does link into another action, so you understand why you're doing X to get Y and what you need to do. So there's a lot going on. The board looks busy, but once you get through those rules or get somebody to teach it you well, then there's it all makes a lot of thematic sense, which is something that people said didn't quite work with a more abstract game, let's say like Weather Machine.
when
All
I
right,
should
cool.
say when I say I don't like playing a Lacerda, I should clarify. I don't like playing them solo, but it's only like the 4 that I've played solo. I have not liked his philosophy for solo design, but I've heard that he's done different things with other games, so I can't say I'll never like a Lacerda game solo. But like I started with the Gallerist, the On Mars solo, and like the expansion, and none of those excited me as a solo experience. I actually liked the multiplayer pretty fine.
I do feel that every year I come with a Lacerda game, and every year I get shouted out very, very quickly. I'm going to have to change tack on this.
Yeah, I
basically.
mean that's like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same
Yeah,
thing, expecting a different
because
result.
Will doesn't like games that have rules, and Mike has actually tried Lacerdas and it didn't work for him. Yeah, so
Hey, I owned a Lacerda once that I paid for.
yeah, you used it to
Yeah,
I don't
did
know
you
put a
play it
drink on
though?
top of.
I did. I played
Okay.
it 3 times multiplayer and 1.5 times solo because I was like, I don't like this solo.
Okay.
Yep. All right, we're gonna move down to bracket 4, which means nothing to anybody except we have Galactic Cruise versus Leviathan Wilds.
Oh.
2 exactly the same games.
Who was
Yeah.
Galactic Cruise? Was that me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, fine, good.
I feel like that's a
Okay.
Well,
knock on
yeah, I was
your
about to
own.
say he doesn't even remember that he likes the game. That's already kind of a.
I didn't know. I didn't know if it got swapped around, and but then I remember because you played it, Will, haven't you? I think.
Yeah. I think we all
Yeah.
played it.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think.
I've not played Galactic
No,
Cruise.
it's not it.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's
Anyway,
most of the time, if it's a heavier on the list, there's a fairly high likelihood Mike didn't play it. Just the reality of the world.
all right. Well, I'll let either one of you go first on this.
Mike, you can go first. Yep.
All right, sure. So Leviathan Wilds. Will, have you ever thought about walking outside and just climbing a mountain, like just
Every day.
every day, right?
Every day.
You're a nature kind of guy. Now,
Yeah.
what if that mountain was
He's
alive?
thought about it.
Oh my gosh!
What if the mountain was alive and trying to knock you off of itself and smack you with its mountainous hands?
That
That'd
sounds
be
less fun.
even better. No, it's more fun. It's more fun, and so is Leviathan Wilds. This is the darling of no pun intended or included or whatever that channel's called. It's Shut Up and Sit Down loved it. It's my number 3 game of the year. It's one of the best cooperative experiences for kids, adults, and everybody in between. You are climbing leviathans and trying to smash crystals on them. It's got tons of variety in the leviathans. I think it's like 16 in the main game, and then you can mess them up even more with mutations. Tons of variety in the characters you play because you mix and match these characters and classes. So you can have I think it's like 60 combos of classes. I know you like Bullet, Will. I know you're a fan of these kind of games where you can sort of combo things together and try out new builds and stuff. Leviathan Wilds has all of that. The entire thing takes like 45 minutes to an hour to play. It's just a joy. It's easy to teach. It has really free-form card play. You can basically do anything you want on anybody's turn, like help them out, save somebody with a card, even though it's like not your turn to play. Just a blast of a game. And yeah, I mean, Will, after you succeed, you'll feel like you've climbed that mountain. You did it because it was there. Pick Leviathan Wilds.
Wow. I also previewed it.
Well,
Has he finished? Oh God, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was it? Your nap time, Mark?
No,
yeah, I was about to
it's
say,
not that.
Mark is pushing 80 now, so we have to give him some leeway for.
It's not that. It's a game about collecting crystals. I mean, come on.
You're smashing them. You're smashing
Oh, you're
them.
smashing them now. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Would you prefer them being shot like in Speakeasy? Do you want to take like a
yes.
a Tommy gun and shoot them crystals? Okay.
Anyway, so. So now I've woken up then, we will talk about Galactic Cruise. So, Will, you may have thought about going outside and climbing a mountain, but have you ever wanted to go outside and get to the top of that mountain and just keep going and go into space? because
No.
Galactic Cruise.
Space is terrifying.
But
that,
we've
that
all
would
thought
work
of
out great if you just keep on climbing the air. It's very thick up there, and then you can make it to space.
We've all thought about you doing that anyway. But yeah. So yes, Galactic Cruise is a fantastic. I think it's first big release game from new designers, new studio. These guys got this absolutely right. They developed the game over a number of years. They were very active with the kind of play testing, with their putting it out on the various forums, asking for feedback, touting it around various conventions, etc. And it came to GameFam Kickstarter, whichever it was, and last year. It is a game where you're going to be running a space agency, and you are going to be moving around trying to get the resources to build the best rockets, to get the right kind of passengers coming onto your spaceship, so you can take them on their galactic cruise. You see, there's a reason for the name, and the name is the reason for the game. And you will build various stages on your rocket, and these stages will have room. There's even a board game convention room that you can lock into there as well. It is slightly Lacerda-esque. There's no getting away from that. It has wonderful artwork by Ian O'Toole. The solo works really, really well. I played it solo, I played it 2-player, and I played it 4-player. And it's a game that doesn't outstay its welcome. The rules are just enough to be meaty, but not enough to get you confused as well. It is, without a doubt, one of the best new releases from any new publisher, and I think they've done exactly the right thing, and real kudos to the publishers on getting this out. Will, I know you played it. I know you had a good time with it as well. And yes, you've done whatever it's called, Leviathan Snores. I know you've done that, but yeah, I think Galactic Cruise should be lauded for the fact that these new publishers, quite frankly, should deserve all the respect and support that you can give them.
This is also Leviathan Wilds is also a first-time publisher doing their first game and having a lot of success with it. Don't you want to support them, Mark? No, you pick and choose winners. Only some publishers can be first-timers.
Well, they sent you two a copy of the game to preview. They didn't send it me, did they? So I am Sheffield's premier solo YouTubing board gaming channel. I will have you know.
I don't know. There's that dude down in the corner, and that other Mark.
Yeah.
The other Mark. You guys are like
Sheffield's.
You're like 2 minutes away from each other. You drink the same pub. Okay, so this is a hard one because it is true. I do enjoy both of these games. Now, Mark, on the one hand, came at me with a lot of attacks. Mike, on the other hand, used the phrase, and I wrote it down, mountainous hands. So, I mean, you both got that going for you.
Yeah.
That is pretty good. Now, what Galactic Cruise has going for, so thematically, let's talk about thematically here. So Leviathan Wilds, it is like Shadows of the Colossus, except you're saving the Colossi, which I can appreciate. It also means my wife will actually play it with me, though it's sitting here, I haven't played it yet. Galactic Cruise is basically the TV show Avenue 5 if it didn't go wrong.
Yeah, yep.
But Avenue 5 was great when it went wrong. So it makes me think I need something to go wrong in Galactic Cruise to really not just be a capitalist monster here.
That's fine.
Well,
you play all your games just terribly.
No, Will, didn't you hear that the new expansion, they're partnering with CGE, it's Galactic Cruise Galaxy Trucker? So first you build your ships and go on a cruise, and then asteroids hit it and blow up half of the ship.
Well, now that you say that's a possibility, that's making me lean a little bit towards Mark here.
Never mind. Forget everything I said. Because
that sounds like a great idea.
It does sound like a great idea that they'll never make.
Yeah. Now, but what Mark does have going, so it is Lacerda-like, but it is manageable. It does have that going for it. It does play pretty darn smoothly. The solo is quick. It makes sense. And I don't really want to knock Mark down to only 2 left when we know that Mike has won 2 out of 3 years. Ooh, so that becomes tough. But Mike just did me a solid, so he claims. But I'm going to have to... Ooh, that's actually really hard because I really like Leviathan Wilds. And I don't actually have Galactic Cruise right now.
Is it out? It's not out yet, right, Mark?
No, I think it's delivering soon.
It's delivering in the next couple of months, I think. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's coming soon. But on the strength of, I don't want Mark to go out, and I need him to know that Mike is the enemy because he's won twice. Galactic Cruise, it is.
Yeah, I'm
And that
still in
also
the
sets
fight,
up a more
baby.
thematic next round.
Hey, Mark. All honesty. Should I reach out about a copy of this? Do you think I might like it?
It sails close to Lacerda, and if you don't
Okay,
like, it's not
okay.
heavy. It's a midweight Euro. Some of the
More like
mechanisms-
Johnny Pack games.
I mean, I really enjoyed SETI, and you didn't, right, Mark?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
our tastes are too different on Euros anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be for you. I don't think. Play it at a
Okay,
convention or whatever. But,
All right,
but
all
yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, they'll send it to you later, I'm sure.
Well, no, I don't want to ask for it if I expect not to like it. That's
Yeah,
my
well,
policy.
no, I mean, like a good. Yeah, play it first. It's fun. It's pretty interesting.
Get one of your lackeys to cover it, Michael. That's fine. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I got a whole.
Mark,
squad.
you're his lackey.
All right,
You're
next
Sheffield's
bracket,
#1
next
lackey.
bracket.
All right, moving on around. Oh, we have our next really thematic matchup.
Oh man, this one's hard.
We have Wandering Galaxy, the new one from Plaid Hat Games, versus Captain's Chair, the new one from David Turtzi. I don't know who's publishing. WizKids.
WizKids. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Mark, I'm going to let you take the lead here.
I'm doing all the bloody talking at the moment, yeah. So
why don't you go first, Will? I feel like you didn't talk as much recently.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll go first. I'll go
yeah,
first.
yeah.
All right. So, Wandering Galaxies. It takes everything that we discovered with Forgotten Waters, that we continued and improved upon with Freelancers. Add in the Jerry Hawthorne ability to tell a story and wonderful deck building. And I don't like deck building, but here I am coming to you saying the deck building of this is great. So instead of like in the previous games where you're just chucking a die or chucking 2 dice and I don't know, maybe it'll work out, you're building this deck and you're flipping these cards out, looking for matching symbols, and you get to cultivate that deck. You're finding abilities, you're finding new minions to come work for you. You actually get to, they're not called minions, but I call them minions because that's a more fun word. And you bring them together as you're making this crew of space mercenaries as you're trying to pay off your debt. And Mark's going to like this because you're in debt to some gangster like in Speakeasy, and you got to pay him off the whole way through, and you're doing all these jobs. And what really makes this work is the app. It's an app which, yeah. He's simmered down, old man over there. That's a thing people do nowadays, right? It's got an app with amazing voice acting and storytelling, and it's got a choose your own adventure style that goes with it. So you get to pick which way. Oh, you don't like the guy? You can punch him in the face if you want, or you can try to bribe him. Do whatever. You could just not go there at all and go play with the space tribbles. Like whatever you want to do. You get to make the choices. It's all wonderfully performed. It's all wonderfully acted, and it can continue on as a continuing campaign, adventure to adventure, which is different than either of the previous iterations of this game. It's great, and Jerry Hawthorne is a very nice man. Don't make him sad.
I've already forgotten the name of the game. Is it Wandering Galaxies? Is it? Yeah.
So like you knew exactly.
You remembered it perfectly. You remembered it perfectly.
Yeah, there we go. That's all right. Yeah, I was just making sure then. Yeah, because your long rambling speech just lost me pretty much after the opening statement. However,
Mark, you look. We know you got to get to Denny's for the early bird, but come on.
We don't have Denny's in the UK. I only wish we had Denny's in the UK.
Anyway. I wish we didn't have Denny's in the US.
Can you take them?
We'll do a swap, shall we? You can take our crappy little cafes and we'll take a Denny's. Anyway, you're absolutely right. This is the matchup which really matters, I suppose, because on your side, Will, you've got a game, Wandering Galaxies, which...
You nailed it again. Perfect.
Yeah, which makes no sense and is obviously very much a riff and a rip of the king of all space, all space of all time, if you like, which is Star Trek. Wandering Galaxies, Star Trek. You can see.
You mean Star Wars?
No, Star Trek.
No. You're wandering through the galaxy. You're not punching the galaxy. Star Trek. That's right. Come on,
Yeah.
Will.
Yes. So
I was just
Star
seeing
Trek.
if he knew what he was talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. They
Right,
they've
Battlestar
taken the
Galactica.
name.
Got it.
So anyway, Star Trek Captain's Chair. The world has been waiting a long time for a good Star Trek based board game, and let me tell you, this game comes out in the next month or so. WizKids, I think, are delivering it, and it is the Star Trek themed game that Star Trek fans have been waiting for. Now, you mentioned your game has got deck building. Now, this is a deck building game. This is
Just
all
deck building. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, with some interaction, but pretty much it's it's a key focus. The good thing about it is you can play it in a power cut if your phone's died, because of course you don't need an app. But also the deck building is absolutely first rate. Now, somebody like me, I'm not a Star Trek fan. I couldn't tell you a Tribble from a Vulcan. Star Trek Captain's Chair is obviously based on the Imperium system. I didn't get on with Imperium. I think this is better in every single way. It plays fantastic. It's 1 to 2 players, so you don't need to get the same 4 people together. I think the core box has got 6 captains in there, based on some Enterprise captains and some Alien captains. You can play either side. Each captain, if you're playing against them as a bot, has their own AI, which is really easy to follow. If you remember both cards, Mike, it's really easy to follow.
Shut up, Mark.
Really easy to follow, and it is, I'd say, from a non-Trekkie, non-Imperium fan like me, then I think this is, had this been released last year, it would have been in my top 3 games of last year. It's not. It's coming out January, February this year, I think. There is more to come. Lots of captains to come. Lots of expansions to come for this if the game does well, which is going to bring more interplay, more interaction. I think it's an absolutely fantastic game that really, really pays not just homage, but pays the IP it's linked to all the respect it's due. I think Star Trek Captain's Chair blew me away and continues to blow me away.
How do you know, Mr. I don't care about Star Trek if it's paying the IP it's due? You don't. And here's the main takeaway. You said, I didn't like Imperium. I don't care about Star Trek. I expected nothing, and it delivered slightly more than I expected on both counts. That's what I heard.
No.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, it managed to cross that divide and bring the
It
game to
managed to
me
step over the very low bar that you had. Got it.
and step over to me as somebody that enjoys games. You remember enjoying games, Will, rather than just talking shit about
Okay,
them? Anyway,
Speakeasy.
and enjoys games and cross that divide. But also, there's enough in there that true fans of Star Trek will absolutely get it. Now, you're wondering, nebulas, galaxies, your game that, first of all, you need an app to play. So your phone goes dead. Oh my God, I can't play the game anymore. I want to take it camping. I can't play the game.
But because so many people don't have power.
The power goes down. Star Trek Captain's Chair is a game you can play in an extended power outage. And that's certainly
in
got
darkness with a candle. What are you talking about?
Candle, absolutely.
Oh, God.
Yes.
I'm gonna let it go. I think Mark is done.
Let me wait in. All right. So you both are offending me. All right. I, from what y'all are saying, I feel like I'm the biggest Star Trek and Star Wars fan of both of you. Because Will, you give an example. You say in Wandering Galaxy, you play as a space mercenary who owes money to a gangster, and you're like Speakeasy instead of like Han Solo or like
no, that was a shot at Mark. That was a shot at Mark.
Yeah, I don't think you remembered. And then Mark, I think Captain's Chair has like some fun little like callbacks, but as a long time Trekkie, it's a great game. It has stuff from Star Trek. It feels nothing like Star Trek. Like there is nothing you are doing in that is anything like anything you do in any major Star Trek IP, except like maybe kind of the Dominion Wars in like Deep Space Nine, maybe. But putting that aside, this is actually a very tough one. It's actually very similar games for me because Imperium, loved Imperium at first. And then as I played it more, I burned out, started getting frustrated by it. It took longer to play than I wanted. It was more kind of obtuse than I wanted it to be. And then both Forgotten Waters and what is it called? It's not Aftermath.
Freelancers.
Thank you, Freelancers. Both those loved them at first, and then found like the action checks got a little repetitive, and I kind of fell off a little bit. So both of these are games that are follow-ups to games that I burned out on. Captain's Chair I've played, and I agree with Mark. It is in every way better than the Imperium. And I don't, unless you really hate Star Trek or really love ancient civilizations, I see little reason to track down Imperium. Sorry, Imperium. I know it's a different company at this point, because I think the Captain's Chair is better in every way. And it was on my top 40 of the year.
Sorry, company that's never sending Mike a game again.
I'm sorry. They already usually do. They forget about me a lot. No offense to them. But yeah, no, Imperium is okay. I like Captain's Chair better. But it also, like Imperium, was like pretty cool, and I didn't want to play it that much. Wandering Galaxy, I have not played, but it does. I like deck building. I like it in Captain's Chair. I like the idea of doing it in Wandering Galaxy. I like, Freelancers was a little too linear. So this one having like some more kind of openness, like in Forgotten Waters, seems really cool.
It does. You have a map.
But
it's a little
also,
less. Like you have to follow the hyperspace lanes.
Yeah. But it's hard. Like Captain's Chair, I know already is a fantastic game. I don't know what Wandering Galaxy will be. I just have hope and optimism.
Jerry Hawthorne's a very nice man.
Jerry Hawthorne is fine. But Jerry Hawthorne also makes games I love and makes games I think are poorly tested sometimes, So I don't know where Wandering Galaxy is going to fall out on that. Like, what was it? The Comanauts one? I feel like that was a pretty big stumble for old Mr. Hawthorne, although I think his design sensibilities are amazing. So I know
I'm telling you, it's everything about...
You haven't played the final version, have you?
I have.
Oh, you have? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That does change things a bit. I thought you were going off for just previews.
No, the only thing that didn't exist when I was playing it was the recorded voice.
Okay.
Is it a campaign, Will, you say?
He said it's optionally.
Yeah, you can just do like one, or you can keep your your mercenary going. Like as you go through, like you can slowly get like scars and stuff, and then eventually you have no arms or no eyes, so you have to retire and bring someone else in. And they got rid of the Mad Libs, which
I like, they were kind of goofy with my family, but I'm actually, I think that's a good change. I will say, Mark, it is hilarious because you've done this, I think, a few different years. You being like, oh, it has an app, when clearly Will and I don't mind. And also, one of my top picks on this list, Fateforge, is also in app games. What do you think? Who are you convincing over here?
I don't mind apps either, to tell you the truth.
But Mark just coming in with the insanity arguments here.
So this entirely becomes, I expect to like Wandering Galaxy better. I think Captain's Chair is a game that I think is great now. And also, I think if I really hammer it down, Captain's Chair is probably the more impressive design effort. So you know what? I'm going to go with Captain's Chair. Even though I think personally, Wandering Galaxy will be the bigger favorite.
You're going to feel in 3 months. You're going to be like, man, I'm so dumb.
I mean, I agree with you, and I'm really excited to play that one. Way more than I'm excited to play Captain's Chair again. So there is that, but I'm still picking Captain's Chair. It's a known quantity. It's hard for me to vote for something I don't know.
Devastated.
Yeah.
Devastated.
You went up against Star Trek against the Trekkie. I mean, you were going to lose, Will, yeah? So...
Yeah, it's all right. It's not. I'm crushed by that. That was tough. That's a tough loss on that one. Oh, it's so good. You're going to be so sad. But...
I mean, I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be playing a game and I'll forget we ever made this video. That's what I do.
Oh, no, it'll come back. Yeah, and the sad thing is I was holding on to this. I was going to wait for the next round. The solo is so much better in Wandering Galaxy.
Good, because solo. I wish you had said that.
I thought I had it because I thought I was. You got to save something, you got to save something in the can.
Yeah, because the solo was passable but somewhat mediocre for both the other ones. So
yeah. Then this one they have it kind of baked in, almost like an Oathsworn. You kind of have like the half character.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
it's really baked in. So when I was playing it actually with Jerry, we were each playing one main and each had one like semi character that just works right
Yeah.
with you. It's
Well,
it's
you know
really
what?
good.
Never mind. It's wandering. No, I'm kidding. it's still Captain's Chair. I'm joking. I'm joking. Don't get
I've
excited.
only played. It's Forgotten Waters. You said is the
Yes,
Yeah, that
same
was the
that was
first
the
stable, isn't it?
original one of these
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of like
So I did play
app-enabled
that.
narrative games.
I must admit, it did run out of steam for me after a while. That from a solo perspective, Forgotten Waters.
I do
I'm not.
think I think it's all been an upward trajectory. It
Yeah.
sounds like this
Yeah,
one is
yeah,
the
yeah.
best,
Yeah.
and freelancers was more efficient in its time. I also felt like Forgotten Waters, like those missions would be like 3 to 4 hours, and I'd be like, all right, I'm kind of done with this game now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at Forgotten Waters as almost. I mean, I enjoy it and I love the story and all, but it's almost like that was like a proof of concept. And it's
Yes, I
just
think
been
it's
better
good.
and
Okay.
better and
Yeah.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
this latest one it's really tight. It's really good. All right,
Cool.
moving on. Oh boy, I'm up again. This is
Oh.
another hard one for me. We have Tidal Blades 2 versus Kinfire Delve.
All right, I'll go first since you.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tidal Blades 2, fantastic.
Can we get the whole title, please?
Tidal Blades 2, Rise of the Unfolders. Is that actually right? Did I pull that out of nothingness?
You did.
Wow. How did I remember? I think I was reading about it. I was like looking at something yesterday and I saw the full title. Yeah, so Tidal Blades 2, first of all, Mark, it has nothing to do with Tidal Blades 1. I know that's awkward. Will's probably going to mention it. Ha ha ha. Funny joke. Who cares? It is a.
What about the other Tidal Blades game, the Banner Festival?
Yeah, whatever. It is a fantastic dungeon crawl sort of combat game. I'll just focus on a few things. First, a little shot off the bow at Kinfire Delve. Hey, Mark, do you want to enjoy Kinfire Delve in all its full glory? How about you buy 3 different sets released 3 or 4 months apart from one another? Okay, and if you can even find them, and then good luck. You know, each of them is packed to the brim with cards, so I guess you're gonna have to find some solution or to stack all 3.
Yeah,
games
that's
together.
true. Those 3 boxes definitely take up more space than. Oh wait.
Yeah, this is 1 or 2 if you get the. Okay, never mind. You know,
Mhm.
I should never remember this
Mhm.
can of worms. Tidal Blades has a terrible storage solution, but Tidal Blades 2 has the best initiative system I've ever seen in a dungeon crawler. It's sort of like a mix of Gloomhaven, where the card you play thematically adjusts your initiative, but with a bit more memory, so a bit more like sort of modifiable initiative, like something out of D&D, where like you're first this round, but by playing this card, you can go later. It's got amazing variety, mission to mission, and really the coolest thing, Mark. Mark, how do you feel about Gloomhaven?
Again, it's okay.
Yeah, so this one, it has some of the depth of Gloomhaven, but for me, at least, and many people that have played with, a lot more fun. You're doing this Nexus grid. I don't know if you've seen the game or tried it, but you got this Nexus grid. You play 1 card a turn, but then you place the card on this 3x3 grid, and you choose a row or column. I just said row and did column. Good job, Mike.
It's okay. You teach English. You don't teach math.
Yes. Well, those were words, though.
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, so you pick a column or row with the card you played, and then you resolve all 3 of the cards or spaces in that column or row. So you're only picking 1 card a turn, so it's a little bit more straightforward in feel than Gloomhaven, but then you combo that together with multiple other actions, including you can build card combos across multiple turns, and it's just glorious. It's really some of the best tactical combat I've ever seen in a game. The story's really good, too. There's not too much branching. The campaign's not like stupidly long. It's not like Gloomhaven. You can finish the entire thing. I think it's 18 sessions if you play through the entire thing.
Have you finished it?
I've not finished it. Well, I'm sorry. Have I finished anything? Do you know my covered schedule? I got through like 10 scenarios. It's pretty dang good for me. Yeah, so I think it's just wonderful. It's got the depth of a Gloomhaven, but a little more accessible, a little more fun. Fantastic initiative system, great story, amazing art. Who is it? It's like Cuddy or Cuddles?
Mr. Cuddington.
Cuddington, yeah, Mr. Cuddington's art.
You don't even know your own thing. What's going on?
I
here?
got
you
it
clearly
close.
don't care about this game.
I really like Kinfire Delve. I'm talking here, but Kinfire Delve is one of my favorites from the last few years too. But yeah, Tidal Blades 2, fabulous game. Great solo experience. They have a sort of like Mark was saying for Wandering Galaxy, that's sort of like a simplified helper thing.
Will.
It's not too simplified.
Like Will was saying.
God dang it. I don't know who anybody is anymore. Yes. Anyway, go ahead,
We're just
Will.
the little
Go
people, Will. We're just
put
the
me
little
out of my
people.
put me out of my misery.
All right, so I'm going to start with the slanders thrown here. Okay. Tidal Blades 2 is huge. It's a cube. And if you get the miniatures to go with it, and I know you, Mark, you want to have it all. You want to have all the things. And so you're talking a cube and a half. You can put Kinfire Delve, all 3 of those boxes, which you will get for half the price of one of the Tidal Blades 2 boxes. You can put all of them in the little pocket behind your car seat. And I know that you, Mark, like to get in an RV or a camper van, whatever you call them over there. You call them something.
Motorhome.
Motorhome. You like to
Yeah.
take your motorhome, and you and your wonderful wife, you go on trips, and sometimes you like to play a game. And those motorhomes, they don't have big tables. No. But Kinfire Delve fits right on that table with space to spare. You could have your sandwich right next to you and play Kinfire Delve and have your beverage on the other side with no risk of spill because there's that much space. And Mike has already told us how much he likes this game. And the cooperativeness of it, if you're playing more than one, is fantastic. It does that great thing where I'm playing my card to help you do your thing. But of course, I got to make the decision. Hold on. If I do that, I'm going to weaken my own thing. Are they going to be able to help me on my turn? Or you can play solo, and it is a beautiful way that it does solo to where you still even feel like you're still playing those cards, but you're just helping yourself. It's great. It's a full mix and match set. And as a weird little bonus, if you have Kinfire Chronicles, you have alternate art cards you can throw in there for your characters.
Okay.
And
Cool.
Mike said it's one of his favorite games of the last few years.
I mean, yes. I mean, so is Tidal Blades 2, though.
Yep. And what is an unfolder? It's a game about laundry.
The unfolders are trying to destroy the boundary to invade the Pride Lands and Pride Rock so they can dethrone Mufasa and conquer Mordor
With laundry.
with laundry. Some of the things I just said are correct. Many of them are not.
Okay, so first of all, I've never played either of these games, all right? So I'm going purely off what you say here. So Tidal Blades 2 sounds like a great game, and for you to rank it so highly, Mike, must obviously, you go through quite a lot of games, quite a lot of quality games each year, whereas Will just goes through quite a lot of games. But you go through...
Wow. I will point out, I also covered Tidal Blades 2. I'm just going to point that out.
Okay, but I didn't, obviously, I've not played it. However, I was slightly cautious when you say, okay, so there is Tidal Blades, it's nothing to do with that. There is Tidal Blades Banner Festival, it's nothing to do with that. Why the hell are they using the Tidal Blades name then, basically? If it's tying it into two games, which you are so quick to distance it from by saying it's nothing to do with those two, it's its own beautiful thing. Yeah, it just feels a little bit wrong.
They were inspired by the Valeria series, which is deeply thematically tied to each other.
I don't know that I don't know if that helped you.
I'm saying it does. I'm making fun of it too.
So then we come over to Kinfire Delve. So Will, I still have Kinfire Chronicles. I'm about halfway through Kinfire Chronicles. I think I enjoyed it more than Mike did. I think Kinfire Chronicles. I know Mike, you didn't quite like the initiative system.
I liked it a lot better when I actually played through the whole thing, mostly with my family.
Right, okay.
We played 4-player with my wife, and she had an entire combat where she got 0 turns. Went over like a brick, but I had fun playing it solo.
Yep.
So yeah.
So solo or 2 players, the way to play Kinfire Chronicles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, so we come to Kinfire Delve, which is obviously set in the same universe, but it's a card-based game, I believe, isn't it, Will? Yeah.
It is.
And how does that rank against all other card-based games?
What? Is that the metric we're going by?
Like, I mean, am I comparing this to like Spades?
Game of all time.
Yeah.
Like, am I comparing this to Magic the Gathering? What am I comparing this to?
The similar card-based games, they kind of. What is it? It's kind of head-to-head, is it? I take it, yeah.
No. It's fully cooperative. Fully cooperative.
It's closest to like an adventure card game. I mean, not like Lord of the Rings LCG or anything that heavy, but like that's probably the closest analog.
Yeah. But this year,
like it's like a 1-deck dungeon ish.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
But with no dice and.
Yeah, no dice, but like it's like a delve. You're like trying to get to the boss and beat them with cards.
So, okay.
Plays in about 30 minutes.
Okay, so it comes down to the decision now between the two games. I'm going to think about a game. You're absolutely right, Will. It would feel like a great game to take in the motorhome, but we've got Slay the Spire. And
in the motorhome?
Yeah, we played Slay the Spire in the motorhome over Christmas. Yeah. talk Neve
They
again.
clearly have a bigger table than you think they have, Will. Because
I mean, he clearly he has like
the
a
board of like moving to confront
yeah. He
the
clearly has like
enemies
a Will Smith motorhome that like
No.
expands out.
Some creative space on the table itself, and it all worked out absolutely fantastic. So
Well, you won't
we've
need
got
any creative space.
and that's the thing, yeah. The part of it does come down to how it looks on the table. Now, I'm sure that Banner Festival Tidal Flames 2, whatever it's called, yeah, is. I'm sure that looks absolutely great on the table, but there's no way I'm getting that in the motorhome. However, I've never played any of the Tidal Blades games at all, despite them not being linked in any way, shape, or form. I have played Kinfire Chronicles. I did a lovely review video on Kinfire Chronicles. I said it was a great game. In time for them to put on their campaign page for Kinfire, the reprint and Kinfire Delve. They didn't use the video. They've not sent me any copies of Kinfire Delve, and for that reason alone, this very scientific reason alone, I'm going with Tidal Blades 2.
I don't feel good with it that way, but all right.
Mark,
I'll take it, I guess.
The first time I'm pulling out my Shakespeare insult mug, you, sir, are light of brain.
Well, just take it that you didn't lose this. Incredible Dream Studios lost it for you. Yeah.
I am surprised. I think you really like Kinfire Delve. They should send it to you. It's a great game.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
They are very fun. Each one of them gets better too.
Yeah,
like in a good way.
I disagree with that. I think the second set is the best they did. I think the third set was a little bit weaker than the second set. Personally.
Oh, interesting. I liked the third one the best.
I think the third one boss is too easy. I find he's the easiest of the three bosses that they've released.
Yeah,
we are all still in the battle at the moment to take it, aren't we?
Yes.
Nobody's been
Maybe.
We all still have our number one seeds in, and Mike has his number one and number two in. All right, so moving back over, we got. Oh nope, I won't make us argue again. We gotta get Mark arguing. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into Elder Scrolls versus Tidal Blades 2.
Long you go
so we
they just heard a lot from me.
They did indeed. Okay, so Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era from Chip Theory Games. It's currently now in lorries getting ready to be delivered to backers.
They had that great picture of all them packed in the back.
All the backers. Backers should be receiving it any time now. Had this game come out last year, it would have been my number one game in 2024. It didn't.
The ultimate backhanded compliment ever. Here's my number one game, but it wouldn't be if this other one came out.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to be fair about these things, and it couldn't be any other way because I did class when I reviewed it. I think Elder Scrolls is now my favorite game of all time. What it does, it takes that DNA of a game like Too Many Bones and it expands on it. It gives you kind of more options in how you build your character. You get some proper almost RPG elements in the game as you expand your character. You have a number of massively replayable campaigns in this game, and each one, it says about 12 hours. In reality, you're probably looking to finish a campaign a little bit longer than that, probably 15 to 18 hours, something like that. But you could play it and have different adventures, replay it and have different adventures all the time. Wonderful production values. Everything that they have done, Chip Theory, in terms of bringing this game to life really stands out in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the production value, in terms of the writing. You can see they've taken a long time to get this right, and it plays great. I played it 1 player, I played 2 player, and I played it 3 player. I haven't played it 4 player yet. Got a feeling 4 player may be a bit too much and too long for it, but solo and 2 player, it plays great as you're bouncing off each other. Really kind of cinematic moments in there. When I was playing it with Mike Dennis from Ready Steady Play, we spent a lot of time developing our characters, choosing what characters we wanted, and etc., getting the skills right. We were 3 adventures into it. We picked out a card that said Wabbajack Attack, and you then have to discard your character and pull a random one out, basically. And that was brilliant. I mean, that was just great because all this careful planning that we've done on crafting the characters, it's a random event. It tells so many wonderful stories. It's got a real Chip Theory kind of care and attention to detail throughout every aspect of it. It's a table hog. It takes a long time, but by God, is it worth the investment?
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately agree with everything Mark said. It's one of my favorite games of the year. In fact, I think it was right under Tidal Blades for me. I did like half point rankings this year for games that are releasing in 2025. So I think,
And for the listeners, but both Mark and Mike had it on their list, and but Mike was feeling magnanimous and cocky, and so he just let Mark have it.
why do you gotta present it that way? Just I think Tidal Blades 2 and Elder Scrolls are probably the two finest tactical combat games I played this year, and two of the finest games for that category ever, or at least in the past like 5 to 10 years. I agree with Mark. It's the best. It's better than Too Many Bones in almost every way. But here's the big thing, Mark, and I will, and I think this might matter for you. It's just so it's long. Even if you only play, and it does like let you play one act if you don't want to play all 3 acts. If you play just one act, you're looking at, charitably, if you're a fast player and you have 1 to 2 players, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. If you don't do very many delves. Realistically, you're probably looking, especially if you go up to 3 or 4 players, at like 3 to 4 hours for each act. So it has sort of that same, not issue, but feature, whatever you want to see it as, of Hoplomachus Victorum, where it's awesome, but it just like takes forever. It just has to sit on your table for a long time. It's also, like many chip theory games, mentally overwhelming. And it has so many scenarios and so many different types of abilities checking in with each other that, just like Too Many Bones, I love the game. There's no offense to chip theory, but everyone playing it is either going to be playing it wrong or going on BGG and going on chip theory and messaging them on their Discord to try to find the right way to play, and they're still going to have 15 rules wrong. It just has a million things going on. Tidal Blades 2, you can play one scenario in 45 minutes maybe, and then get to the next part of the campaign. It has a much better narrative than Elder Scrolls, because there basically is no
Did the whole
narrative.
publishing company?
Yeah, sorry. It has a much better narrative than Elder Scrolls, because Elder Scrolls barely has a narrative, by design. They have like little random sort of stories for the encounters you do, and then like story at the end when you finish. But Tidal Blades 2 has a fantastic narrative. Elder Scrolls is a riff on Too Many Bones in many, many, many ways. Now, it's all better, and I love it, but it is a riff on Too Many Bones. Tidal Blades 2, their grid system I mentioned, their initiative system, there's so many things in here that have never been done this way by any dungeon crawler or tactical game ever, and it is incredibly impressive and unique and special. And yeah, I don't know. If you want to like sit down and play a game that's not going to break your brain and not going to send you to the rules forums every 5 seconds, play Tidal Blades 2. But honestly, I don't care. There's much, of Sound and Fury signifying nothing, because either of these games are like, I think it was 4 and 4.5 on my top 40 list. So they're both the best ever, and I love them. So I don't care. Do whatever you want, Will.
Okay.
See, I can't really come at Mike after that for anything, because he was very gracious, and there's no denying. I think I said it in the preamble that Elder Scrolls is a long game, but what a journey you have, and you do want to kind of carry on, and that time span. It does seem to fly by as you're moving from one area to another, or it's a delve, or it's an adventure, or a fight, etc. Tidal Blades 2, I'm going to be honest with you, I like the sound of it. At some point, despite the fact it took the publisher 3 attempts to actually hit on a formula they like, and so people have spent loads of money getting there. I don't know. I know you can talk about loads of money.
Also, I
want
to mention
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. In all seriousness, for Elder Scrolls, and this is something Tidal Blades 2 did not do, they have a lovely organizational system, and the like holders for your characters, if you need to like clear up for a day and then come back and continue your long game later, it's lovely. So same thing with Hoplomachus Victorum. I said that takes forever, and it does. But man, you can just put the stuff in the little like white arena holder and move it somewhere else, and then come back to it. Beautiful systems.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah,
nothing
against
Mark.
either. Yeah. No, I was just going to say that's kind of sounds like Mike's happy with either of them. I've only played one of them. Obviously, I prefer Elder Scrolls to win, but it sounds like either would be okay here. Yeah.
So, first off, I appreciate the Shakespeare quote, Mike. Sound and Fury. So now the question is, do you know what play it came from? This is going to matter.
It's full shredding the stage, Sound of Fury signifying. Is that Lear? No, it's not, is it?
Well, now you've the strutting the stage. That's Macbeth. I thought it was Lear. I think you're mixing the two, but now
am I mixing two quotes? Here, I'll look it up while you.
Yeah, no, okay. So now I'm confused. So now you think you've lost it. But yeah, look it up. Look it up now. Anyhow, So currently, now I've played both of these games, and the one thing that you guys both said that I painfully disagree with is I still like Too Many Bones more. And I have my reasons, and mostly it comes down to I am just charmed by the weird ass gear locks, and I don't care about the Elder Scrolls world because I've never played any of the video games. Now that said,
I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that.
yeah. So the one thing you both brought up that I really made me think was the unique mechanics. So yes, Tidal Blades, that grid, that's really cool. And that I've never played something like it. But not to sell Elder Scrolls short, because the way you get your dice and you go from either side, you kind of have to choose and that.
And the cooldown track is super
Oh,
cool.
yep, yeah, and the cooldown track, that to me, like that almost pushed the Too Many Bones out for me, but I just love Too Many Bones so much, so I couldn't. And Mike's right. It is a bit of an evolution of Too Many Bones, but I don't think that's a bad thing. As I couldn't have come in and championed Kinfire Delve and say and Wandering Galaxy and say, you know, oh, improvement over time is good. So that's hard for me to knock on that. And you talked about story though. Now, Mike, you seem to love the Tidal Blade story. I think it's solid. You know, it's not...
I mean, it's way better than Elder Scrolls, is what I should say. I'm not saying it's like my favorite story of the year. It's not. It's probably like top 5 or 10 of the year.
Good. Okay. All right. That's fair. It's a pretty good story as far as these go. But the random events in Elder Scrolls can be great. Now, the one that I remember is when I did a early preview at a con. I had the choice: did we want to eat the reptile eggs, or raise them, or turn them over to somebody? And so I was on brand, and of course I ate them. And nobody apparently, Andrew from Chip Theory has told me, he's like, you're the only one that did that because no one else is a monster. Now, it was such a great, delightful choice, and I still think of that. Now, none of the ones that I played came up to that were that entertaining and fun. But the random events are pretty darn fun in many cases, more so than Too Many Bones. So we got that. But on the other hand, it is mentally overwhelming. It really did take me like 2 weeks to go through that rule book, and I had some videos to people to watch, and I'd been taught the game before. So there is that. Did you get the answer on the quote?
Yes, it is from Macbeth.
Oh, it is part of that whole thing. Oh, see, I always do that. I always think about it as the wind and the storm. So I guess we're both dumb.
Lear has what? Blow winds, crack your cheeks.
Yeah, crack your cheeks. Yes, and the hurricanos and all that, which Mark knew because he's British, and he saw the original production.
It's how we
it is
speak
a
every
requirement
day.
in their primary schools that you have to memorize all.
But so all of that, I want to bring it back to this. The only reason that we are having this debate is because Mark was butthurt.
What?
Because
we should be having the Elder Scrolls Kinfire Delve debate. But there's a problem there. Because do I go after Mark, who doesn't deserve do I go after Mark because he hurt me? Or do I go after Tidal Blades 2, which doesn't deserve to be here?
Well, I think, Will, I didn't hurt you. Incredible Dream Studio did that, yeah? Vicariously. Oh. Yeah.
Wow, that's deep. You know what? I'll buy it. Elder Scrolls it is.
That's fine, because it was going against my next game anyway, so it would have been weird if it was Mike versus Mike for the Final Four.
Well, maybe. Wow, that's bold. That's a bold prediction that you're going to win the next.
Oh, wait, never mind. I forgot that there was another game there.
You see, cocky.
My fault. Never mind.
All right.
Disregard.
So let's see. Mike just had to go twice in a row, so we'll jump down to bracket number 3 with another fairly thematic, sort of, Andromeda's Edge versus Galactic Cruise.
Oh, y'all. I don't even know. Yeah, good luck with this.
This is the matchup of Mike says, "Who cares?" That's what this matchup.
That's accurate.
All right, but so I'm just going to start out. I'm going to not belabor it because it's not your style of game. But here's what I will say: Mark's #1 game of the year was Andromeda's Edge. Mark's #1 game of the year was not Galactic Cruise. Nor did Mark send a message talking about, and I have it's right here, people, right here, with the picture of Andromeda's Edge to us just on Friday, just last night, saying, it's so amazing that I lost this solo game, but I was able to run it back and I was able to learn from this and do better and win. And you could feel the satisfaction oozing through the messenger, through time, because he's in the future. And he just loves it. I played it with him in the UK and he raved about it the whole time we were there, about the beautiful production and the amazing trays, the amazing storage system that's in there. Beautiful storage system and how great it is. He plays it with his buddy Mike Dennis. He plays it with everybody. He plays solo. He didn't talk about Galactic Cruise.
It's because I don't have a copy of Galactic Cruise. It hasn't been released yet.
Why'd you put it on the bracket then, Mark?
It's games we've covered. It's games we've covered this year. Yeah?
I believe we established Mark doesn't care about actually winning this.
So, okay. So, all right. All of those things that Will said are absolutely right. Andromeda's Edge was my #1 solo game of 2024. But as Will pointed out when we talked about Elder Scrolls, it wouldn't have been had Elder Scrolls delivered last year. So
but it's still above Galactic Cruise.
Because Galactic Cruise isn't out yet. You
so you've heard it here. Mark is saying Galactic Cruise is better than Elder Scrolls, is what he's saying.
It's not what I'm saying.
It's his #1 game of all time.
It's not what I'm saying at all. Anyway, so all of those things that Will said about Andromeda's Edge is absolutely correct. You know, it has great table presence. It has, this ultimate replayability for it. It plays great all player counts. But just going back to that text where I said, hey, I played it solo and I lost. I played it again solo and I learned from what I did and I beat it on the very next go. I mean, what kind of solo challenge is that? Yeah, that is obviously.
I mean, it seems like one that makes sense.
That's a twofer, though. I want to get closer on my second game. I don't want to beat it on my second game.
Mark, you're very talented, is what someone's probably told you once.
Never.
Someone probably told you once.
And okay, and we talk about the storage system, right? The game tray storage system. If you've got the all-in and the deluxe version, well, if you listen to somebody like Luke Hector, who had the retail version, he does not like the storage system that he's not got.
Luke Hector doesn't like anything.
Because he's heard it from other people that it's not good. So therefore, even though he's not got it,
I have the retail.
Not to like it. Yeah.
I have the retail. It's amazing. It fits in one small box. Boom, on the shelf. Brilliant. And I'll also point out, Andromeda's Edge was in my top 5 games of the year as well. I was just using Mark's words against him because they're British and more eloquent.
Does also have a wonderful game tray storage system, which again, given the rest of the game, they've developed over time and they're making sure it fits and it looks just right. Got a good sized box. It's not this overproduced thing. Let's face it, all right? Andromeda's Edge. It's Luke Laurie. Okay, it's Luke Laurie. We all know that somewhere he's sitting in the background and he's got that patented Luke Laurie smile on his face, basically, and that's what we all should fear. There we go.
Michael Kelly doesn't know about this. Again, you are pitching the wrong person.
I have no idea what you're talking about right
now. So anyway, yeah, it kind of takes Andromeda's Edge takes what was wrong with Elder Vale and makes a very bold move, and makes it more front and center in terms of the combat of the game in Andromeda's Edge, whereby you're rolling the dice and you can have 15 ships in a battle. 3 ships in a battle against a single lonely transporter, and that transporter could beat you with 1 die roll. And that is why Galactic Cruise doesn't leave space up to chance. Galactic Cruise says, hey, you know what?
There's no combat because we're cowards?
Yeah, there's no combat because it's
no glory of the lone peasant slaying the dragon?
See,
wow.
You are just like focused on violence, whereas Galactic Cruise is all about
You already told us we're American. Of course we are.
Tommy gun. Hey, you made your own bed, lay in it.
That's right. That peasant's out there with the Tommy gun shooting the dragon in space.
Yes. That sounds like Luke Laurie's next game.
Dude, I'll buy that in a second. Tommy gun peasants in space? Yes.
So yeah. It's hard to argue against a game that is actually obviously my favorite solo game of last year.
All right. Well, this is a tough one. So neither of you seems to like Galactic Cruise as much as Andromeda's Edge. I've also heard Peter and Jerry have played Andromeda's Edge. I think Jerry bought it at PAX. They think
Yeah.
it's great. Peter said the solo mode is really good. I didn't like Eldervale, but they didn't like it much either, and they agree with you, Mark, that this is kind of improving on Eldervale.
The one thing I'll toss about the solo mode and this one is you can actually add it into a smaller player count game.
Oh,
as
I
well.
love that. I love that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. So therefore, clearly the winner is Galactic Cruise because there's a chance this will go against my games, and y'all seem to like Andromeda's Edge a lot. So bye-bye, Andromeda's Edge.
Wow. Well, the good news is, wow, I'm remembering.
It's
Wow.
It's not a personal slight to you, Will. It's just
No, it is.
Brilliant.
You know what? You, sir, thou art a boil, a plague sore. Oh man, you guys have to debate now. That one, I'm gonna have to recover from that. My butt hurts. All right, okay. Seventh Citadel versus Captain's Chair. You can almost just not do this after that last one, but go ahead, take it away.
Yeah. So, Will, you're a handsome man, and you have great ideas, and I'm sure you're a lovely teacher too. You know, you're just awesome in every way. Yeah. So, Seventh Citadel. Hey, you guys play Seventh Continent?
No.
Oh, you
Yes.
did? Wasn't that
Boring.
game frustrating, Mark?
It was
Boring
awful.
sometimes. You just wander around the world, not knowing where to go. You had to fish out these cards from all over the place. No
At
real
least they
sense
didn't
of
make
sto-
I hope they didn't make a sequel to it.
No, oh God, that would be a terrible idea, right? Be a terrible, terrible idea. But sometimes, sometimes they make a sequel to a game like Elder Scrolls for Too Many Bones, and they miss the heart of the game. They forget how fun the gear locks are and how unique things are. They make the game overly long. Too Many Bones is so quick and fun. Elder Scrolls really a misstep. But sometimes they make. I'm just with you, Will. I'm totally vibing on all of your opinions here. Sometimes,
Except the Andromeda's Edge one, the only one that mattered.
sometimes you get a sequel that is in every way an improvement on the original, and that's Seven Citadel. If you didn't like the random wandering, now they have really clear directions about which direction you should be going and what you should be looking in. If you didn't look that you could just kind of go around having no idea what to do for 20 hours, now they have the campaign divided into discrete episodes, each one that takes like about an hour, so it's really easy to kind of see how your progress is going. Even if you fail, you'll fail forward in an interesting way. But it still has the great exploration, the best exploration of any game this year, any game of almost any year, in terms of just discovering what's in the world, finding amazing things. It's got a really cool action system, super thematic, really good cooperation, although it's an amazing solo game. And where else, I ask you, Will, in what other game will you use the harp that you found on a dead body in a cracked hellscape to play a gentle, soothing tune for frogs made of crystal to find I forget what it was, an egg or a plume of a bird to solve your next quest? Where else will that happen? Yeah, actually, something like that could happen in Role Player Adventures. But you know where it's not going to happen? Captain's Chair, the unthematic, dull, and I'm not kidding. I do love Captain's Chair design, but it is a barely thematic, dull, number crunching affair when you get down to the theme of it, versus one of the most thematic and engaging games of the year. Captain's Chair, fabulous design, but yeah, you don't feel like you're playing Star Trek. You feel like you're adding numbers and getting abilities.
Okay, so Seventh Citadel, then obviously the follow-on to Seventh Continent. It was one of my first forays. I think when I first started playing modern board games, I ended up buying Seventh Continent. I think I was going to love it, and I didn't like it. So then they launched Seventh Citadel. Hey, we fixed everything, and it got delivered this year. Did it to backers?
Yes.
When did the campaign finish? How long ago was the campaign?
I don't know.
I believe the year you finished primary school.
Yeah. I think it took maybe the best part of 4 years, 3 years to get to backers, basically, this game. So he had a company that have had everybody's money for a long time.
It
And
was
of
one
course,
of the first games I previewed in this house I'm in.
there we go. And so that, and yes, it's taken them 3 years to tweak a few words and add a few arrows onto some cards, quite frankly. Now, the exploration may be better, but it's probably been done better in games since then anyway. At the moment on this table,
it's not. And who cares how long it took them? It's an amazing game now. It's a scurrilous and useless argument.
On this table, it's not in any way, shape, or form. I think what you've got there is a pure thing where if you have given an infinite number of typewriters to an infinite number of monkeys, they will write the works of Shakespeare. They've had all this time. It should be it should be better. I've got Aeon's Trespass set up.
So it's better. That's awesome.
It should be, is what I'm saying. It's nothing unusual. It just should be. I've got Aeon's Trespass set up on my table right now, so I'm halfway through cycle 1 on Aeon's Trespass. That's got a similar card-based system with lots of adventuring, lots of
but Aeon's Trespass has a shadow, the least took out all the heart of the card-based system. Which island you're driving around means nothing. Aeon Trespass is a great game, but no, it's calling that similar to Seven Citadel is a joke. It has nothing. You can pass by any landscape and you're going to roll on a random table to see what your adventure is. It has nothing to do with where you are on the map.
So what you got on Seven Citadel is a box full of cards, basically, that you've waited 4 years to get, that rehashes a lot of the themes from the original game and just does puts go faster straps on some of the stuff.
Are you ever going to talk about Captain's Chair?
Wait, hold on. What's funny is that he just did. He said all you've got is a box full of cards that rehashes on a similar system from a previous game and is a little bit faster than the other game. He just said everything about Captain's Chair.
This is literally what I'm leading into, right? So you guys jump in. And I was just about to say, and the same could be said for Captain's Chair.
Okay. Fair enough.
However, what Captain's Chair does, it realizes that, what happened originally with Imperium, there were cracks, there were things that were bloat, etc. There was too little interaction. What they've done with that is they've taken that, and rather than just putting go faster stripes on it, is they've redesigned the game around the core mechanisms and given something a lot fresher, a lot newer, that plays, yes, a game of Captain's Chair is probably going to take you close to 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours, but that's a game done. Obviously, with Seven Citadel, you've got, like says, you can play a section in about 20 minutes, or no, about an hour or so, basically. But you still got another campaign. Now, Mike loves campaign games. Tidal Blades 2. All of the other stuff he's mentioned, basically. Every game he's mentioned ever has only ever been a campaign game. Yeah? So, I know, I'm making that up.
This is the man that won this with the Exceed battle system.
Yeah. And Sky Team. But do you need another campaign, or do you want to play a game and then play a game with different captains, have different objectives, and there's more expansions come in? If the game does well, more captains come in. You've got infinite and ultimate replayability, whereas with Seven Citadel, you're going to complete those adventures, and even if you fail forward, the chances are you're not going to want to go back and do them again.
Okay. So a couple of things I've latched onto here.
That I didn't vote for Andromeda's Edge?
Well, there's that as well. First off, I will point out, so the years thing, sometimes I'm like, okay, that matters, but I am so excited for Iridia right now, which I waited 50 million years for. I got to throw that out. But really, what this comes down to for me is, do I care more about precedent or justice? Because the precedent Mark has set is previewing a game and not being sent a copy. Well, I previewed Seven Citadel. I didn't get a copy. But was that fair that Mark did that? And would it be just to have Mark versus Mark in the semifinals?
Well, you know what else, Will? You know what else? Is it just that Mark destroyed Wandering Galaxy, a fabulous game, with his unfair arguments about Captain's Chair? Doesn't Wandering Galaxy deserve some justice by having Captain's Chair taken down a peg to, get revenge for that choice?
I am not a spiteful, vengeful person. This is hurting your case, Michael.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
2 words then. You're not spiteful or vengeful at all. So I'm glad of that, because...
Don't tell me what I am.
You just said that. So that means, obviously, I don't have to mention the two words Andromeda's Edge to you in any way, shape, or form. Then. Yeah, so...
That's right. Yeah. Will, focus on your lack of spite and your lack of vengeance, okay? That's great.
But I think what is carrying this through is I cannot allow a Mark versus Mark semifinal, therefore guaranteeing Mark in the final, maybe Mark versus Mark final. That is not allowed. So we're going to have to say Seventh Citadel.
Captain's chair.
If that is spelled Seventh Citadel. Yes. And now I will enjoy being knocked out right now as we do Fateforge versus Distilled.
So, yeah, Fateforge. Oh, I forgot I was doing this one. Mark, this is an app-based game. You can only play it with an app. I know. And it's got this combat that can be really swingy, like it's dice-based combat. You roll dice and then you have to place them on actions. And sometimes you just don't get the actions you need. And the game is super tight. You only have like 3 or 4 rounds to complete the objectives of the little scenario you're in. It's like these very quick combats that only take 10 or 15 minutes. And because of that, like a bad roll can really like mess things up, and the campaigns fail forward, but then you're hurt. You have injury cards you've earned. So yeah, it's like really punishing, really rough on the player. And then there's like these long, it's a great narrative, but there's these long reading passages where you gotta like explore the town and stuff. So I think you should vote for Distilled.
That's a very strange reverse psychology. How dumb do you think Mark is?
So, I'm not reverse psychology. I'm trying to keep Will in the game. Fateforge is my #1 game of the year. I love it. But everything I just said is technically true. So vote for Distilled. It's a great game. I like Distilled.
So, Mark, I'm just going to throw this one thing out. How much fun did we have playing Distilled?
A great time. And y'all like drinking spirits. I know it. You've done it on the air.
Yeah, we had a great time playing Distilled. There's no app.
No app.
And the champion of it is not pitching a bunch of negatives.
You know the only thing you drink in Fateforge? Healing potions. Boring. I've done it a million times before.
Okay. I'm just, you know what? That is the greatest pitch for reverse psychology in the history of the world. Mark, it's going to come down to you to find out if you are aware of what he is doing. We had fun with Distilled. It's great. It's only getting better over time, just like a spirit.
I have played both of these games.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. And Mike, for you, again, of course, is another campaign game. But I do think Fateforge does some really clever things. And I think keeping the choices that you make do matter throughout the story as well. It could only ever be an app, basically, because of how the story works.
Yeah, and how much it branches and stuff, for
sure.
But
it doesn't feel too intrusive, the app, as well. At the same time, it feels like it is a necessary part of the game, and it can be relatively quick, depending on what scenario you're doing or where you are in the adventure. You can play it relatively quickly and have a great time. It's fully cooperative. I do think Fateforge probably deserves more credit than it's got. I know it's your #1 game of the year, but
I do love it. But
I wish more people.
Can you
were
drink whiskey?
It.
Can you make whiskey?
I really hope that they pull quotes from that monologue, Mark or Mike, for their next campaign.
But then we come back to Distilled. Now I have Distilled somewhere down here. Nope, it's somewhere. I have Distilled. I think it is a great game. I think it just hits the complexity mark just right, if you like, Distilled. Yeah, it's accessible, but gives you enough of a challenge on there. But Distilled did knock out my game early on, basically. All of my positioning was all for naught because Distilled came in, and it's a 2023 game. So the only reason we're discussing it is because Will couldn't get his backside in gear.
Hold up, Elder Scrolls. Hold up, Elder Scrolls 2025 game.
Future man right here. Yeah, you're living in the past. Pick up your Shakespearean book.
I just want to point out,
Daily News on there.
I will be the judge if you throw me out now.
What I think is
So-
hilarious is that Mark just said you're living in the past, but he keeps on pooping on app games.
It's just for fun. Anyway, so it kicked me out. It is a game from 2023. It does have that annoying mechanism, which I quite like, though, of getting rid of the top two cards. I think Fateforge is an excellent game. I think Distilled is an excellent game, purely for the sense of the fact that Will knocked me out earlier with Distilled. I'm going to go with Distilled and just to keep winning the game. To tell you the truth.
Hey,
I'm
there
going to be
we
a
go.
little bit
There we
magnanimous.
go.
Yeah.
Good
That's
job,
the
Mark.
spirit.
Good job.
That's
I was
the, you know,
going to feel sad about
That's the
that.
spirit. Yeah.
Dude, thank you. And, you know, it's fun. Fateforge, I have it right here. I've even actually painted some of the minis. I haven't gotten to play it yet. It's
great.
very
It's
high
great.
on my.
You'll have a good time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
like
and I
it.
will say, like, it's partially my number one because my 12-year-old and I played through basically the entire campaign.
Yeah.
But it's also a game that I could play and have incredible tactical nuance while playing with my 12-year-old, and he enjoyed it the entire time. So that is a big notch in its cap, or notch in its cap.
And actually, it does something that I'm really weird and
Feather.
I love. I loved all the baggage, like little flat tokens, just move them around real quick, and they're there. I love that so much because it's a small box. I got the expansion right in the core box.
Yeah.
Really, really excited to play that one. All
Cool.
right, here we go. We have Distilled versus Galactic Cruise. This is
Why is Galactic Cruise in here? This is ridiculous. I don't understand how.
yes. Why is Galactic Cruise in here?
I mean, like maybe
Because
explain
y'all keep choosing it. Yeah. So.
All right, so here's the thing, Mike, and I know you appreciate when things improve over time. They iterate, they distill, if you will, into something better. Well, that's what Distilled has done.
Is that really what this distillation is?
Well,
Is it
the distillation, right? You know, you start with more and you distill it down to something less and better and stronger, right? And so with this, every additional expansion has made it even stronger, a better spirit, if you will. This is a game that you can play in an hour. You can play the solo in less than an hour. And the whole time, you're sitting there and you're learning things. You're a teacher. You can learn things if you actually read the cards, which reading, you like reading. You love reading. You read to your children. You could read the cards and teach them about alcohol if you so wanted. It's up to you. You could teach them about the regions where this booze comes from.
Did you really just
And,
go
hey,
there and
this
tell
is
Mike
not
to
your
read
turn, Judas.
instructions on alcohol?
Judas. He just voted to keep you in the contest, and he's Judas.
Yeah. But look, and I'm going to share a story from the designer and publisher of Distilled at Origins 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, whenever it was, when Distilled just came out. It was a rainy Origins. He was stuck under a leak. And the poor guy, he had to stand there with an umbrella, keeping the water off of his games, and he persevered to be the man, the publisher, nay, the hero of board gaming that he is, to be here to face off against Galactic Cruise, a game that does not deserve to be here. It's only gotten here twice because of judging shenanigans, which 2 of us are guilty of.
You are one of those people?
Yes, I am. And I am coming to grips with it now. And it has amazing coins.
If you buy the upgrades, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned there, Will, that obviously Distilled is a game that the more money, a better game, the more money you spend on it, basically, is what you just said in roundabout so many words there. Now, there's no denying that Dave is a great guy from Patterson Games, and he has really kind of, in the last few years, brought this to the market. He's got Luthia, which we played, which is the next game, which obviously successfully funded on crowdfunding. But Dave's established. The guys behind Galactic Cruise are exactly where Dave was a few years ago with Distilled. They're releasing their first game into the world, basically.
Unproven.
They put a lot of, well, not if you go by all of the preview videos and people that played the game and everything that's online.
Yeah, but we're shills. Like,
yeah.
everyone
But
tells
these
us that
guys-
we're shills.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's true. But other than that, they've gone through. They're exactly where Dave was from Patterson, kind of 3 or 4 years ago. And for that reason alone, Dave's had the glory. He's had this. He's achieved what these guys want to achieve. I think that Galactic Cruise should be the game that soars on and carries on and launches, if you will.
You know, Mark, you're actually. I was gonna vote Distilled really quickly, just kind of like as an afterthought, but you've really actually moved me with this last argument because Pemberton Games had the chance to have the glory, have one successfully delivered game, and have Luthier coming. Galactic Cruise has had the glory of a very successful campaign, and the game will be delivered soon, I'm sure, to rave reviews. You know who hasn't had the glory? Will of the Hungry Gamer. He has never won this contest, and this is his last game in the bracket. I at least want him to get to the final.
I just want to say, I think I had Distilled in the brackets last year, and you guys knocked it out, basically. So this is a weird turnaround
it's
of events.
Grown, It's grown on me. It's almost like my thoughts have distilled down to a love of Will Brown. Oh, that rhymed, too. Okay, so Distilled advances. Clearly the better game than Andromeda's Edge and Fateforge. I like Distilled a lot. I don't know if that's true, but it's okay. Or Leviathan Wilds, actually. Let's not forget that one. I like that one better too, but it's okay. It's okay. All right.
All right, now, the moment everyone's been waiting for. Elder Scrolls, the game that is not released yet, versus Seventh Continent, the game that took 74 years to arrive.
Seventh Citadel.
Seventh Citadel. That's not promising for you.
Yeah, no, it's not promising for me at all. I was just thinking the same thing. Oh man. Yeah, so both of these are revisions. Some might say improvements on existing games. But one of them didn't send you a copy, Will, and was just, how dare they? That's very rude of them. I would never forget you. I think you're a special person. The other one likes you a lot. How many games has Chip Theory sent you in review copies over the years, Will? Just estimate for me.
Several.
Yeah, and they're one of the most decent groups of people in the industry, I think. They just go around.
Seventh Continent, they're French. So Mark hates them.
Oh God. I remember when they fought Mark in that war, back when he was in his teens. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Seventh Citadel has a better narrative than Elder Scrolls, has better exploration. I mean, Elder Scrolls has almost no exploration. But it does not have better combat. Elder Scrolls is it's heads and shoulders. You know what combat is in Seventh Citadel? You flip a card. What? Maybe you say you used a sword and it changes how you and now you flip 2 cards. That's it? Come on. In Elder Scrolls, I'm rolling dice. My dice roll dice. I gotta track down 18, neoprene boards to set out so I can have my delve. That's not the kind of experience, I want that more than I want seventh, whatever it's called.
What is happening here?
Seventh Day Adventist or whatever.
You're pitching Seventh Citadel,
I don't
right?
care. I like all these games. Seventh Citadel is great. But they done you wrong, And but Will, think about this though. You are picking your opponent for the finals and your judge for the finals right now.
Yeah.
And I think if somebody's gonna, it's just something to think about. I'll leave it there.
So when it comes down to Seventh Citadel, it's a game that I obviously played the prequel, and it just meant everything about the prequel. I know this is meant to be better, just made me not want to pick this game up. And nothing should do that. I get you can improve on stuff, but when you mess up so badly on the first one, then the second one's just going to be
the Seventh Continent is for many people a top game of all time. I'll note, and I love it a lot too. But it's okay.
Where was it on your top the games of the year list? What number?
Seventh Citadel?
Yeah,
number 2.
Okay.
It was my number 1 for forever, except that
right. Yeah.
I gave Fateforge the win just because I played it with my kids and had such a good time with it.
So there's no denying it's going to be interesting then, because I haven't played it. I don't know much about it. I just know that the first one bored me stupid. And the
stupid has stuck.
It doesn't take much to do that as well.
Oh,
And
God.
but Elder Scrolls, kind of they backed it. It's delivered more or less on. It's getting delivered more or less on time. Basically, I think they're a month late, or rather than 3 years late, basically. And I can imagine that Elder Scrolls has just as much kind of narrative and story and that they have to link back to make sure everything was perfect. So it's just it's a far worthier game to put through, I think, than Seventh Citadel. And I didn't stiff you on Andromeda's Edge.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which goes through because I have offended both of the other judges so much. I will definitely lose next round. But there is two words. There are two words that really solidified this for me. Andromeda's Edge.
Andromeda's Edge.
Elder Scrolls it is.
It's fair. It's fair.
No, that said, I actually would. I'd love to play Seventh Continent or Citadel. See, I can't even get it right. That's the other reason I can't even remember what it's called. At some time, I do remember it was quite fun.
Yeah, I wish they had sent it to you. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right, so what do we have? We have
so we got Distilled
versus Elder Scrolls.
So let me get this right. We've got a game from last year versus a game that hasn't actually been released yet, basically. As our favorite game of 2024.
This sucks. Y'all suck. All my games are for 2024. All 4 of my games.
You did this to yourself, Andromeda's Edge.
I don't like that. I definitely don't want that one to be the #1 game of the year.
But because let's be clear, Andromeda's Edge would probably be the one that had gone through here.
I mean, I wouldn't pick that over Elder Scrolls either. That was the problem.
All right. So
All right,
look. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Does chip theory need to think you're buttering them up? I don't think so.
They
need someone that gives honest reviews.
They need someone a sword, Will.
Well, me too. They need someone
and me
that will go Luke Hector on them and badmouth them sometimes. And this is your chance to do that, to show them and the review watching community that you are not a shill. You are not putting them through because of a sword. You are not putting them through because of a plushie or maybe some coffee or maybe some really good game nonsense. No. You are here to say the little guy.
Wait, hold on. Y'all got a plushie?
Yeah.
I didn't get a plushie. You got
I
coffee?
didn't get a plushie.
Yeah, what plushie did you get from them?
I got the Gilly plushie. They didn't give you a Gilly plushie. Remember that?
No.
There are no plushies from Distilled, but I guarantee you, if there was
a shot glass, I got a shot glass.
Right? And if there was a shot glass plushie, you would have one. It would be there.
My kids can cuddle up with it in bed at night while I read them the ingredients in a good, vermouth or something. It'll be great.
Now you're getting it. Now you're getting that Father of the Year trophy. You understand, and you can show the world that you are honest. And let's just remember that this is a small publisher. You don't want to crush them under the weight of chip theory. He'll be dead. It's so heavy.
Okay.
Don't be a shill.
I mean,
he's going to be now. Mark's going to tell you to be a shill. That's what he's going to tell you.
That is kind of it's an argument, I suppose. Will is to try and guilt Mike into voting the way that you think he should vote, and also saying, hey, your kids don't need a plushie. What they need is the recipe to a Singapore sling instead.
But they don't have a plushie.
Young. Yeah, they don't have a plushie. But you're giving them the absolute ability to understand alcohol and
a sword to cut somebody.
Yeah, it feels like a good night out. You're making a Distilled will seem a lot more exciting than it actually is, and that's the thing here. Yeah, because at the end of the day, what more can be said about Distilled than hasn't already been said? Actually, not a lot, really, because it's all been said about Distilled. Whereas the Elder Scrolls is pretty much an unwritten book. There are so many more adventures coming with the Elder Scrolls. Now, I don't know much about the lore behind Skyrim. I played Skyrim a few times, but no more than about 5 hours in total, basically playing Skyrim. It doesn't matter. I was invested in this. I was invested in my characters. Distilled is absolutely fine if you're looking for a game that you want to play in 90 minutes. But we all know that from most of Michael's list that he likes a campaign game. And
His number one
therefore,
was Fateforge, which he said he could play in like 45 minutes.
no, it's a campaign game. You can play a scenario in about 40 minutes to an hour, but it is a campaign game. It's an evolving campaign game. Distilled is okay if you want to have that kind of Lacerda type feel. So, Mike, if you love Lacerda and you love Euros,
back. You take that back.
So if you love Lacerda
That
and love
was
Euros, then you
fake
vote for
news.
Distilled, the game from last year. The game from last year. Yeah, you heavily vote for that. Yeah, that's only on this list because Will couldn't get his arse in gear to cover it last year when it came out.
All right. Y'all put me in a weird position, okay?
Excellent.
Because
I feel like the listeners are winning.
Distilled should not be here. Clearly, I guess
It should
Andromeda's.
be. It's great.
I guess Andromeda's. No, I know Distilled's a great game. It's from 2023. I guess Andromeda's Edge should be here, but it's probably the game I'm like the least interested in playing of almost every game we have on this list.
You cannot vote against me because you don't like Andromeda's Edge.
Yes,
That seems wrong. And I'll
Yo,
point out,
but
if I win,
is like,
I win, Mike, you are still in the lead for at least 2 more years.
Your
See,
opening statement,
all
Will,
I've
was
got
no
left,
rules.
Will. All
Yeah.
I've got left, Will, is a pity for you. That's the only thing that might make me vote for Distilled. Because Elder Scrolls is a better game for me and for my taste. I love Distilled. Distilled's a fantastic game. Elder Scrolls is like one of the best games I've played in years. It's awesome. It's a triumph, Oh my
But
God.
prove that you're an honest reviewer.
All right. You know what?
He's gonna flip a card.
I was gonna.
It's gonna go all 7 Citadel on us and flip a card for the combat.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Happen.
I was gonna roll the guy. I don't have a free. All right. You know what? Here's what I'll roll. Okay. Here we go.
He's going to roll the shot glass.
Told you. What is this? A winner's ribbon, is it?
Wow.
This is my Golden Geek Award for Best Podcast of the Year in 2024.
Who'd you steal that
I
from?
should say me, Jason Perez, Peter Goosis, of course. And, Colin, Steve, Barrett, everybody who's been on the podcast at different times, Kim. But here we go. So one side has Golden Geek, one has nothing. Which of you wants which side?
Give me Golden Geek side. Because I was on that podcast once.
We're going to spin it. I don't know which way. Okay, here we go. So wait, which side do you have, Will?
I'm Golden Geek.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
We said this was the most scientific top 10 in...
I can see where...
Yeah!
It's definitely... It's Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls following. Will defeated again. Right on
man.
no.
It is the first time it made the finals, I think. So that's something.
Yeah, and you only needed both Mark and I to give you a pity vote.
No. Andromeda's Edge, man.
Yeah, Andromeda's Edge should have been there. But then but then Fateforge should have beat Andromeda's Edge. So
Never happened. Never. Oh, I'm devastated. So I will say for Distilled,
Distilled is great. Everyone should play Distilled. I love it.
It is a great game.
It beat my brother's Lunar Rush for best small publisher game on the Dice Tower Awards this year.
Oh, that sucks. Okay. I do like.
So I can't even feel bad for them. Yeah. I hope you get rained on again, Dave.
By the way, how'd y'all like Luthier? Because I thought that was fabulous.
I think it's great. Yeah.
I haven't played the solo.
Oh yeah, I played the solo's really good. I think I played
a
pretty much final-ish version.
Yeah, I think it's really good, Luthier. I think again, there's a good amount of weight to it. But again, it starts to make sense once you're kind of doing all the stuff there. But to get the bidding mechanism on the solo, I think David Digby's done a really good job on that to make that work so well.
Yeah. And I got to say, they're kind of cornering the market. I know this was kind of a knock against them with Speakeasy, but they're kind of cornering the market in games where it takes a little while to complete something, but it feels like you've actually completed something meaningful and special. Like actually even more so here. It's quicker and easier to distill a spirit in Distilled than it is to finish making an instrument in Luthier, but you really feel like you've done something when you finish that instrument. It's really a neat mechanism.
It's a cool game, but all right, Mark, take your victory lap.
Oh, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank obviously God, and then my parents, and then Mrs. Miggins from my 3rd grade teacher. We don't have 3rd grade. I don't even know what 3rd grade is, by the way.
You actually have a teacher named Mrs. Miggins?
Of course I didn't. No.
Look, he was born at a time before school, Mike.
I went to school
It's
in the
all
70s.
genetic knowledge with him. That's it.
I went to school in the 70s. You know, we barely had teachers in the 70s. But anyway. But no, it's no. I will take this. I think it's a deserved win as well, despite the random ass method of deciding the winning game on this. I must admit, I think all of the games that I have played, certainly on this list, not just ones I put forward, but the ones that you guys put forward, they all rank really highly with me. I've come away with a few new games I want to try as well. Certainly Tidal Blades 2. I think I really need to give that a go. Wandering Galaxies and Kinfire Delve as well also sounds like it could be good fun at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd probably Wandering Galaxy. I mean, I've played pretty much all of these, but if it's Wandering Galaxies versus some Euros, yeah, Wandering Galaxies is my most excited, anticipated of the ones y'all named.
Yeah, I think it's still well, it's Fateforge for me because I've been wanting to play it for a while.
Yeah,
and I just,
Alright,
I
so-
just
you'll like it. Yeah, you will like it, Will.
A nice thing for you, Will, is they've recently updated the app to make 2-player or 2-character play a little bit easier, which I think was needed because it was a little bit tuned harshly. They added an easy mode, which is good. You can toggle that
That's
on
good
if
for
you need
me.
to. Oh, the game is so tough, but like in a fun way. And they have the battle mode now, so if you don't want to do a campaign, you can play. It's like 3 scenarios. Link takes about an hour and a half, maybe max. You can play a full battle mode like little thing where you level up and go against all these different enemies and battles. It's really neat.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. The other one I'm very excited for Wandering Galaxy to eventually get back. It's really, really
Wait, I
fun.
thought you said you had it. Didn't you say you had it?
I don't have a copy of it yet. No.
Did you say you had it?
No. I previewed it. I previewed it. Everything I did was
I know, but later on I was like, oh, but you haven't seen the final version. And you said, yeah, I have the final version.
No. I've seen the final version. I've seen the final
yes,
version.
I saw it at PAX. It doesn't count.
Yeah, no, I saw that, but no, I played prototype, but everything, all the gameplay was exactly
right, except for the audio. That's cool.
Yeah,
and I'm sure based on what were the last 2 they did? Familiar Tale and
Freelancers
Both of those had amazing narration, so I have no doubts it'll be great.
It's great, a lot of fun. So someday I'll play Seventh Continent.
Seventh Citadel.
You know what? It deserves not to be here. I can't even get the title right.
Yeah, couldn't they've changed the number? You know, there's lots of citadels.
Yeah.
Would have been the 8th Citadel and the 6th Citadel. You know.
Yeah, well, then I'd be looking for the first 5 games. You know.
Yeah. I must admit, the games didn't make the list. I think the one I'm really looking forward to, I know the boats arrived in the UK right now, is Iridia. So, Will, you've got your copy. Mike, you've got a copy as well.
Yeah, Iridia is fabulous. I think you'll have a really good time with that.
I backed it, obviously, when a few years ago. So, I think the boat's docked. Just wait for it to come out. I think in the next month, I've got Iridia and Castles of Burgundy arriving as well, which the
same game, really.
Month. Yeah, wildly different games. I've played Castle Burgundy a couple of times, really liked it, somebody else's copy. So when the campaign came out, I thought, I really want my own copy of that. So that's going to be arriving.
Those are really, really nice copies. Don, my buddy Don, has it. Yeah, I'm dying for Iridia, but I have to cover Earth Under Siege first. I got to finish covering that. I know Mike likes that one a lot too.
This is great. Like I said, great year, 2024.
Yeah. And I'll say, the Iridia folks, Far Off Games, they donated an all-in to the Beatrice the Board Game Dog tournament.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so whoever wins gets a crack at it. I will say, Andromeda's Edge is a semi-finalist in the Beatrice tournament. Just posted yesterday. Andromeda's Edge and Conquest Princess both sailed all the way through.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So we'll see what's next. All right. Really quickly, how can people find you guys to see your stuff? The links will be down in the description, but make your pitch.
Oh God. Right, I'll start first because you all know who Mike is, basically. So
I mean, he has a medal. Did you like how he pulled that medal out at the end?
Yeah, it was just the only thing that was nearby that would
look at my medal. Oh.
Yeah. I can't even spell BGG yet. He's got a bloody medal from there, basically. So anyway, Not Board Gaming. That's BORED. Talking about solo board gaming. It is solo board gaming because I have no friends and my family hate me. But it is also
I've met them. It's true.
Solo board gaming focus, reviews, previews, that kind of stuff, etc. Find me on YouTube. I'm active on the forums, but that's generally under my own name because I'm rubbish at marketing my channel.
At Mark King?
I am too. I'm not on any social medias except for YouTube and the podcast. So yeah, One Stop Co-op Shop at YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, wherever you listen. And then you can join our Discord. We got a Discord. It's a fun place. And all the links to join there are in all our podcast and YouTube videos, so you can find it over there.
Yeah, and there'll be links down the description to both the YouTube channels, and you can go from there. All right, everybody, that was another highly scientific, very elucidating, and intelligent year and episode of the Three Idiots Game of the Year. We'll be back again next year with more idiocy. And make sure you check everybody out all year long. As always, if you enjoyed this video or podcast, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. The podcast people can't hear you wave.
Oh, bye-bye. Six.
What you got there? I can't quite read it.
Just a Brooklyn Brick Pilsner.
Well, if you're drinking something from Brooklyn, we need to hear your Brooklyn accent.
You're Brooklyn, yo. It's as good as it gets. Yeah.
That was actually better than mine, sadly.
So, I will point out my coffee, the mug I chose today. It's appropriate because it's my Shakespeare insult mug. So every time I lose, I got one for you.
Yeah,
which is going to be often.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I love. Hey, I was just about to play Exceed with him before I remembered that we were doing this recording.
Oh yes. Hold up. You told me you were about to go outside and do sledding.
Oh, it was both. So I was setting up Exceed because he said he wanted to play Exceed. Then he said he wanted to go sled and play when we got back.
Do you even have children? I'm starting to not believe this.
You've met them. I rented those children when you came over, Will. That's
what I figured. You know, you probably paid a pretty penny. They seem pretty nice.